Welcome to the Skeins of Dreams Knitting Podcast. I'm Megha and I'm known as Skeins of Dreams on Instagram and on Ravelry. I hope I still remember how to do this. Thank you so much for joining me. If you're new and if you're a returning viewer, thank you so much for checking out my video. Today I'm here with a bunch of knitting, a bunch of winter plans, and just hopefully a lot of cozy vibes. I am wrapped up in hand knits. It's snowing today in Pittsburgh, and I've had a really busy couple of months. I was traveling for work again. I was traveling for personal reasons. I fell sick for a couple of weeks and I had a death cough following that. So there was no way I could come and record because I just could not talk for any decent amount of time without coughing my lungs out. And I have been making a lot. I have been quilting, I have been knitting. I'm in the process of finishing recording like a process vlog for all the quilts I made this season. If you follow me on Instagram, you know I have been quilting because I've been sharing some pictures there. I promise I'll come out with a vlog for all the quilts that I made this season, but this is not that episode. This is a knitting update and a bunch of other things, some quilting, but majorly knitting. And I was trying to organize my thoughts, everything I wanted to talk about today, but as usual, I'm never organized enough to actually organize my thoughts. Like, they're in my head, obviously, but I never actually write them down. It doesn't work. It's mostly extempore. I just bring all the things that I need to mention and then just like pile them next to me. And I sit here and I let my natural tendency to yap away take over, basically. All right, thank you so much. I hope you have a beverage of choice. I was thinking I would make a cup of tea and then do this. Perhaps I need to go do that. Okay, I have some tea. I did make the vanilla bean sponge cake flavor, and I have Shirley the sheep in this brown bunny pottery mug that of course I purchased, influenced by Salma. The tea is still very hot, so I'm gonna talk a little before I take a sip because it's quite hot. While I was making tea, the cats did manage to sniff the plants. I think I caught them before they took a bite or something, because Mango is a little insane and he just wants to eat everything he sees in sight, and multiple times my poor plants have been chewed up by the dumb cat. So anyway, yeah, so I have a bunch of knitting, and of course the elephant in the room is my finished stick season jacket. This is a design by Rebecca Clow. I test knit this for Rebecca. I started this early November and then I finished it just in the nick of time. I think the due date was 11th December. I did the all over colorwork version. I'm gonna put pictures of me and maybe like a video of me like twirling around in it, because I really don't feel like standing up and showing it off. So I'm just gonna put a quick video of me in this sweater that I made for Instagram, and then I'll come back and talk about the jacket. So I really love how this one turned out. I made the sleeves long enough that I can fold the cuff. Of course, there's like a little end sticking out, but I have tea in my hands, so I'm not gonna bother about it. I used Bahram U Winterburn DK. It's a discontinued yarn. It's a BFL Massam mix. I think it's this base you can find now with Les Garçons or Sonder Yarn Company. And I know a bunch of mills in the UK have this BFL Massam mix now. This was the DK weight, and then I held it together with one strand of mohair. I want to say, oh, it was the Drops Kid Silk mohair. The yarn is a little purplish, and the mohair was pink, so together it created this beautiful pinky color. And I feel like for my skin tone, I don't have anything on my lips right now, this is a neutral for me, and it is literally the color of my lips, I think. So that's why I say it's a neutral for me. I am so happy with this. It's a 16 stitch gauge, I believe. It worked up really fast. It was wonderful to knit. I did the all over texture, but the texture is like super simple, and I knitted to about upper thigh length. So it's past my hips, and I had to do considerable hip shaping because my waist is, I don't know, 38 inches and my hips are like 52 inches or something. So there's a lot of difference. So I did like increases at every 16 rows, starting at 2 inches from the underarm, so about here. And then I just did increases every 16 rows. And that way it is very A-line shape, but because I am that shape, like it falls on me really well. I did not block it. It's so big that I'm afraid that I might stretch it out, though I'm sure I can block it the way I block everything else, or I can just spin it in my washing machine just to make sure I don't handle it while it's wet, like I don't lift it up while it's wet. But I don't really see the need to block it. It's supposed to be like a cozy thing. It is already. I have no trouble wearing it without blocking. And I love the squishy collar. There's like short rows happening here. And I followed the instructions pretty much. I think I may have done extra short rows, but then you still have to knit it. So it's like 20 rows from, here or something. So I did short rows, and then I just followed the instructions, of course. As usual, all of Rebecca's patterns become like this really wearable garment, and I'm so pleased with how this turned out. There's a neat detail in the back that you would have seen in the photographs, and of course the sleeves. It's just perfect. Like, I don't have anything negative to say about it. I mean, not that I'm looking for anything negative to say about it. I'm just so pleased with this make, and I always wanted like a long cozy cardigan that I can wrap around myself, and this is exactly it. There isn't a button on this. I have enough yarn to make a belt, but I'm okay with the way it is because I can actually pull it close, and I can put like a pin here, a shawl pin or something, and I'm not looking to close it, honestly. Like, I can pull it close if I want to, and I can leave it open as well. So right now I'm living in this, and it's glorious. I'm so happy with it. I don't know what else to say. I think I mentioned everything I wanted to. So this was one of the major things I was knitting all of November. And then while I was knitting this for myself, I was also knitting on a sweater for Baljeet. And I think I showed the beginnings of that sweater in the episode right after Rhinebeck, because I bought the yarn at Rhinebeck. And that is Baljeet's Ankers Sweater. This is a design by Petite Knit, and I've knit this one before. You've definitely seen it before from other podcasters as well. And I knit this in Green Mountain Spinnery Music yarn. It's a beautiful rich red. I don't know if the color is just like washing or blowing out here. I mean, it does look a little brighter over here, but you know the color. Like, I think I'm gonna put a picture of Baljeet actually wearing this sweater. It is actually very similar to the color of my nails right now. This yarn was lovely to knit with. I was very pleased with this yarn, and it was such a nice experience knitting with it. It is a little bit thick and thin. So I did use English knitting. I'm a continental knitter mostly, but I can also knit English because I used to knit English style. So I used to be a thrower, not a thrower, but like a hand, like I would lift my hand up and then just like put the yarn over the needle and then basically do that. I wasn't like a flicker, but I trained myself to be a continental knitter and a flicker. So I can switch the technique depending on what the yarn desires, because I feel sometimes the yarn does ask to be knit a certain way, or it hurts my hand basically. So the way I train myself is just I picked like a stockinette project, and I just, even if I was really slow, I just practiced that one style of knitting. And by the time I finished that sweater, I was a continental knitter or I was a flicker. So I just did that. And then, like, as you make more projects, of course, you practice more, and it is possible. Though I did do it when I was a beginnerish. Maybe I was 3 or 4 years into knitting, and now I'm like 10 years into knitting. So I don't know if I would have the patience now, but I feel like some projects are okay if we don't like rush through them, and you can use those projects to practice. I did start a project where I wanted to do some Portuguese knitting, and while it was going fine, I kind of lost interest. Like, I don't have any issues with my purling. Usually Portuguese knitting is good if your purling is not the best motion, but I don't mind my pearls at all. I'm a combination knitter, I guess. I don't do the standard continental purl, but I do a combination, so I flick my hand forward, but it works for me. And I went off on a tangent. Baljeet sweater, yes. It's really good. He's worn it multiple times. I did add like shaping. He wanted this to fit a little more relaxed, so I did add increases along the body. And most of Baljeet sweaters nowadays I've been making with folded collars with like an elastic inside it. I feel like he tends to be tougher on his sweaters, and he doesn't care about, you know, neckline or keeping it a certain way or like not tugging at it or whatever. So I like to put elastic in his folded collars. This one, because the way it's constructed, it's not a folded collar. So I did something on it, and I'm unable to, maybe I can't show it in this front camera, but I'm gonna show you what I did with the collar of this sweater. And I wanted to take a video of me doing it, but I didn't end up doing that either. I might even put a picture of me, like, you know, okay, you can see it a little better. So I basically did a single crochet chain with elastic thread held double. You know, this elastic thread you get for sewing essentially. So I held that double, and every leg of the knit stitch of the rib, I went in and I did like a single crochet. And this has worked beautifully to stabilize the neck, I feel. So there is some sort of elasticity to the neck, and I'm hoping this helps to prevent fraying of the yarn as well. So this worked out really well. I'm super happy with this. So that's how it looks, and it's just single crochet all the way through, and then I tied knots to make sure that it doesn't go anywhere. And so far it's looking great. And I didn't plan it, but I picked like the third stitch from the top, and I just made sure I did it uniformly around the entire neck, so that's how it is. And this has worked so far. I mean, he's only worn it a few times, so I'm gonna report back maybe in like a year's time to see if it sustained his rough wear. But I am super pleased with this sweater, and I think he loves it too, and the color looks great on him. So it worked out all in all, and I'm pretty pleased with this Ankers sweater. I need to put that tag which specifies what is the front and the back. I haven't done that. I put tags on the bottom of every sweater, especially Biljit sweater, because sometimes if the short rows are too close or too few, he can't tell what's the front and the back. All that, I did add short rows to this. The pattern does not have short rows, so I ended up adding short rows after the yoke. I was watching Selma, who made an Ankers recently, and she added like a short row in every section of the ribbing, and I think that was a great idea too. But I just ended up adding at the back because I kind of knew that Biljit's yoke needed to be a bit deeper anyway, so I knew I'd have at least a few rows after the ribbing section when you're doing the raglan increases as per the pattern. And then in the raglan increases, I did the short rows. So I made sure that the front is a little lower than the back. But yeah, he wears it with a collared shirt, so it doesn't really make a difference much. But I think he's pretty pleased with how the sweater fits. And it was a fun make, and I did promise him at least one sweater every year, and I kept up the promise. Okay, so that was the second finished object. And very recently, as recent as yesterday, I finished another item. And these are some socks. Last week I went to Minneapolis to attend a friend's, one of my best friend's wife is pregnant, and they had a baby shower, and so I was in Minneapolis for just the weekend. I didn't go there for too long. And I wanted to take a project on the flight with me because though I had a direct flight to Minneapolis from here, it still was like a 2.5-hour flight, so I wanted to take a project with me, and I just didn't want to take a sweater. I mean, I just didn't feel like it. So I cast on some socks, and I finished socks. So here's my pair of socks, and honestly, it's been a year since I knit socks, at least since I finished socks. I may have knit half a leg and then just abandoned them. But I decided our friends are getting a his and hers pair, so I decided to make the guy these socks. This is Patton's Croy, and actually the inspiration came again while watching Selma, because she was knitting with this colorway of Patton's Croy, and I remembered that I have this colorway as well, so I was like, okay, let me get this out. And honestly, this has brought my sock mojo back with a bang, because I finished this pair in a week after having to rip back a bunch of times. I ran out of this yarn. I didn't realize the yarn is a sport weight yarn, go figure. And then I was like, why did I run out of yarn? I didn't make the leg that long. And then I realized that it's a sport weight yarn, and 2 skeins don't have as much yardage as a fingering weight does. But I really like the feel of the sport weight and like a thick sock yarn, because they make for good house socks or boot socks as well. So I just decided, so this is Patton's Croy in the colorway copper colors, and then I put the Regia gray just yarn as the toes for this sock. I almost always just make a vanilla sock. So this is a 1x1 rib for 20 rounds, and then this is a 3x1 rib, flat rib, which I love doing on socks for whatever. I think this is 65 rounds. No, this is 45 rounds. Total is 65 from the top. Then I did a heel flap and gusset. I've not blocked the sock. And then I did the foot. The foot has the 3x1 rib continued on the top and just stockinette at the bottom. And then I do like a standard toe with Kitchener stitch at the end. And this is my go-to vanilla sock recipe, and I do not deviate too much from it. I love ribbed socks because they fit much better, and I think that our friend is gonna love these. He's a really sweet guy, and I think he really likes all the things that I make, so I'm kind of excited to give this to him. And we're gonna meet this couple, I think, around New Year's, so I'm gonna have the woman's pair done by New Year's as well. So yeah, so this was the third finished object and completely threw me back into sock knitting. And I feel like for next year I'm gonna do a lot of gift sock knitting, like all year long, make socks and make like those pile of socks for gifting during, you know, Christmas or New Year's or birthdays or whatever. I think I really want to do that. They make for excellent gifts. I wear my hand knit socks all the time in the winter. I think the reason I haven't knit a lot of socks this year is because I don't need more socks. I have a full drawer of socks that I made over the last how many ever years, and I just keep rotating them, and I don't feel the need for more socks. And the funny thing is, Biljit and I have the same foot size, so even if I make him socks, he doesn't wear them as frequently, so I end up wearing his socks. So it's like a communal box of socks that we both end up grabbing from, and it works out because all we have to do is wear socks in the winter, like maybe 3 or 4 months in the year, because during the summer and all, Pittsburgh is too humid to even have your skin touch any kind of hand knit, so it's only in the winter that they get wear. But I wear them all the time. Like, I have hand knit socks on right now. So also super cute, Oreo just decided to hang out with us, and I think this is the best. Like, you know, you have the plants, you have the cat, it's a good background going. All right, so while I'm talking about the his pair, I also started the hers pair, and this is also in Patterns Croy. This color is called Brown Rose Marl. I ended up buying a bunch of Patterns Croy, I have to be honest, but I figured that they are all gift sock knitting, so it's not gonna add to my closet. And this is the sock I started. I know the girl is not tiny, but the sock is a 2x2 rib and it's gonna stretch. I love the magic of a good rib, and this is the first time I'm trying a 2x2 rib. I'm gonna do the same vanilla sock recipe, except that I didn't have to do the cuff separately because it's just a 2x2 rib from the top and it's rib all the way. And then I'm gonna do the heel flap and gusset, do the 2x2 rib on the top of the foot but stockinette at the bottom, and then my regular toe. So that is the plan for the woman's pair as well. I think this is matching my sweater, but I'm super pleased with how this is working up. As I said, I have a week to knit the sock, but the woman's foot size is a US 7.5, which is an average woman's size. I think my foot size is like a US 9.5, so I do wear like a 41, 42 European size, so I'm on the longer foot for a woman, so this will actually get done much faster, I would think. Yeah, I'm super happy with Patterns Croy. I don't know why. I mean, I had this yarn, but I don't know why I never actually knit with it. And now that I did, I'm like, I want to make all the socks in this yarn. It's so sturdy, I'm sure, and it makes for good gift socks because you can't always trust recipients to hand wash everything, so it's probably just nice to throw it in the washer. I throw my hand dyed socks in the washer, and I do sometimes. I try to avoid throwing them into a dryer. So the way I wash my socks is I'll collect all the socks in a separate laundry basket. I'll put them into one of those laundry bags, like the ones that have a zip and like it's a netted thing. I put it in the washer with my regular clothes, but then I remove that laundry bag before I put the clothes in the dryer, and I just like dry the socks, air dry them on a rack. So having them all in that laundry bag makes it easier for me to remember, oh yeah, these are all the socks, they don't go in the dryer, and I just pull them out. So I've been doing that. I can do that with sock yarns that have alpaca in them, because I feel like alpaca doesn't stand up to any sort of friction at all. I have shrunk my Fiber Company amble socks, which were my favorite because they're so warm, but I forgot about them and I put them in the washer and they've shrunk completely, or felted completely and become smaller, and they don't go over my foot anymore. So I need to make more amble socks, but they're a pain to wash. So am I ranting today? I feel like I'm ranting today. And anyway, so that is my first work in progress. I have this in my cute Dolphina sock knitting bag. This is my go-to sock knitting bag. I just take this everywhere with me. I like that it's like light and it like falls into itself, and it's the right size. It even holds 2 pairs of socks if I wanted to, and it has all my notions that I need for socks, like stitch markers and a tapestry needle and a tape measure, and I don't take those things out of this bag. And so this bag is like my favorite thing to carry around, essentially, for sock knitting. Yep. Okay, I think we all need just like a little breather, and I can maybe drink some tea, because I'm not a person who can drink tea hot. I make it hot, it has to come to the right temperature, and then I drink it. But if the temperature becomes too cold, I do not drink it. So sometimes I have to reheat it to get to the right temperature. It's a whole thing. This is a little warmer than the right temperature, but I still like it. Okay, so my next work in progress is another sweater for Baljeet. Like, he's lucky he's getting another sweater this year, or this season, because I don't think I'll finish it in 2024. But I started just a plain raglan sweater for Baljeet. The pattern I'm using is the Bibliophile by Alicia Plummer. Yeah. And it's just a regular raglan. I had actually started the same pattern for Baljeet last year, or maybe it was 2023, but by the time I finished the body, his size had changed because he was going to the gym a lot and it fit him too snug and he didn't like it. So I abandoned that and ripped it out, essentially. And I started another one because I want him to have a few sweaters so that he rotates his sweaters. Otherwise, he wears the same hand knit sweaters multiple times in a week. And I'm just afraid that they will start showing wear a lot faster because he only has like 3 or 4 sweaters that he constantly wears. So I want to build him a bit of a wardrobe so he rotates his sweaters and then they can last longer. Anyway, so this is the Bibliophile sweater. As you can see, I am marling this. I got obsessed with marling over the last year. Everything marled looks amazing to me, but for whatever reason, I've not started something for me that's marled. This is a little marled, but not really, like, because it's the mohair and it just stands out in places. But I wanted a proper marled sweater, and I thought a plain sweater might be too plain for him because he likes having some interest in it, and even knitting it. I shouldn't say that. I like knitting single colors, but whatever. I decided to marl the sweater. And I'm holding Knitting for Olive Fingering Merino Double. And these are the colors I decided to put together. I think this is navy and this is called Veil Blue. I didn't want a very high contrast marl, so I did pick 2 blues, but not that, like, you know, if this was cream, then it would be a really high contrast marl. So I tried to pick a subtle other blue shade, or even if this was like a light sky blue or something, that would be too high contrast. So I kind of tried to keep the colors a little closer together so they give this beautiful effect. And I'm very, very pleased with this. And I had swatched for it and everything. I love the look of the fabric. And I literally just split for sleeves this morning, so there isn't a lot done, but I'm done with the yoke, and this will be my holiday brainless stockinette project that I'm really looking forward to having on my needles. Like, I always like one stockinette project, I think, and this is going to be that. So I'm hoping that I finish this in January and then Biljit can wear it this season. It stays cold till about Feb or March here. At least you can wear hand knit sweaters. So super pleased with this as well. It's I mean, there are a lot of plain raglan sweater designs out there, so there isn't any specific reason I went for this. It was size inclusive. I like the look of it. I like the fit of it. And actually, Alicia Plummer has a new Henley design that she came out with, and I was thinking that might be nice for Biljit as well. I just like her pattern or design aesthetic, and her men's designs are pretty cute. They look good. So that's why I decided to knit the Bibliophile, and I also try to knit the patterns that I already have in my library. Yep, so I am working on that, and I'm quite surprised that that is currently the only sweater project I'm working on. I was on this deadline to finish a bunch of quilts, so I was focusing a lot on those, and which is why my knitting, at least in the later half of December, became a little slower. But not to say that I don't have plans to cast on, because this week is the last week of work and I am off for 2 weeks. And I signed up for a test knit for Beth McDonaldstone of this beautifully cabled cardigan vest. And I'm super excited and looking forward to casting on that vest. So I have plans this Saturday, the 21st of December, to cast on, swatch and then cast on for Beth's new upcoming design. And it is fully cabled in the front and like rib in the back, I think. And I'm sure it's gonna be like a very potato chippy knit. So I'm really looking forward to casting that on. But I also did this thing where I pulled out this older sweater that I have from 3 years ago. This is the Cambys sweater by Orlan Souk, who is Tet Besh on Ravelry and Instagram. And I had made this like in 2021, January. I abandoned this. I don't know what happened that I had to abandon it. So what I did was I brought it out and I blocked it because I wanted to see if I still fit in it. And because this yarn is Fiber Company Cumbria, which is a worsted weight yarn, and it has some mohair content, the thing blocked pretty nicely and it's pretty wide and everything. So it does fit me, and I'm surprised that it fits me, but like I picked the right size, I guess, because I think I picked the 52-inch finished. Even though I was a little smaller 3 years ago, I still wear a 52-inch finished garment. So this fits me really well. The only thing is I don't think I have enough yarn to knit 2 sleeves completely. And I either lost the yarn somewhere, it's in some bin that I can't find. And besides, I was like, if I tell myself that I have to knit 2 sleeves, it's never gonna get done. So my plan now is to just pick up for the neckline, do ribbing, pick up for the sleeves, do ribbing, and make this a vest. And I do need more vests in my wardrobe because there is a long shoulder season in Pittsburgh typically, and I like to wear long sleeve t-shirts under sweaters. And I think this will be perfect for that. It looks great. It's a neutral color. Vests do really well in my wardrobe if they're neutral in color. So I can pair them with any color trousers, a black long sleeve t-shirt, and they work really well. So I'm just gonna do that for myself. That is the goal for me during this winter break, is to just do ribbing. And that should be easy, right? Like, it's just ribbing. But I've been telling this to myself for the last 3 weeks. This has been staring me in the face and I've not done it yet. I thought maybe coming and talking about this here would help me move this along so that by next episode, I have another finished object. That'll be awesome. So yeah, I love the drape on this. It has mohair content in it and it is so, so wonderful. And I remember knitting with this yarn and it was amazing. It is on the pricey side, so I did want to buy another sweaters quantity, but then I told myself I haven't even finished the one sweater I knit in it, so maybe I shouldn't buy more of it, because there is a chartreuse color that they have, which is really, really nice. And I wish right now I'm on a yarn ban, so not buying anything, but when at some point in the future, because Fiber Company is not going anywhere, so I'm pretty sure I'll have access to their yarn much later as well. So I will definitely get the chartreuse and make some sort of a sweater in it. It should be nice. But I wanted to share that as a whip because I did wash it. I have the yarn wound. I just have to bring the right needle from upstairs and start. All right, so now, so we did the sweaters, we did the socks. Now we have to move on to blankets. Before we move on to knitted and crocheted blankets, and yes, there is crochet today, in the blanket section, I'm going to talk a little bit about a quilt I'm making. So, as you all know, I love quilting and I'm from India. So and India is like really popular for a lot of beautiful, beautiful fabrics, of course. And I was like, I need to make more quilts that are inspired by Indian fabrics. So I went on Etsy and tried to find some block print fabrics, indigo block print fabrics that I could use for a quilt. And I found this website, the seller on Etsy, and I bought a bunch of fabric from them. And then I started making this quilt. And actually this is a unique quilt because I tried to do a quilt as you go technique. So I made this, one block is these 4 fabrics together. So I made one, that is each block. I then sandwiched it and then I quilted it. And then when I made the second block, I joined the quilt as you go using the backing fabric. There are a lot of videos on YouTube. This is not meant to be a tutorial, but I tried to make this quilt into a quilt as you go. And it was a fun experience. I'm going to use the quilt before I decide if I want to do this again, because I do feel at the way I did it, at the joints, there is very little reinforcement. And maybe it's just the quilt as you go technique that I chose, because there's a multitude of ways you could do this. But anyway, that aside, this is the beautiful quilt that I'm making. Oops. I wanted to talk about the seller of this fabric. So once I started making this quilt, and I shared about this on Instagram, the seller of this fabric, like the Etsy store, reached out to me quite recently, and I think they just like started following me on Instagram, and then they reached out to me and asked me if I wanted to do some sort of a collaboration with them, and I of course said yes, because I'm in love with Indian block print fabrics. In fact, I will take the opportunity to show you this top I made with one of the indigo block print fabrics as well. This is the Ashton top. I know it's pretty busy, you can see, but I did like facing and everything, and so the back just looks similar to the front, but here's where the facing ends. And I made the Ashton top, I think it's by Helen's Closet, and this is one of the tops that I wear a lot during the summertime. And even in winter I can like pair this under like a cardigan and everything, so I really enjoy wearing this particular top. So I have a few things that I've bought from the seller, and which is why I'm giving you all this background, because I have actually worked with fabric from the seller, and this top has gone into the washer. I try not to put it in the dryer as much, but I think I have forgotten and put it in the dryer and it did not shrink, just because I think I pre-washed this fabric, though I don't pre-wash I don't dry in the, I don't put fabric in handmade clothes in the dryer. I try to avoid doing that, but once or twice I think it has gone in the dryer by mistake. But when I pre-treat my fabric, I typically just pre-wash it in cold water, especially if it's some sort of a indigo print that might run, and I do it with light colors. But for quilting, I don't even pre-wash. So I'm gonna give you an update on how, once I finish, all I have to do now, actually, I was trying to finish this before this video, is actually just turn the border in and sew it down, and the quilt will be done. I'm pretty much done with all the sewing and all the quilting. I just have to do the border, and I'm just being lazy. Not lazy, I've had a lot of things to do, but I wanted to show you that I bought all of this fabric from the seller, and I'm gonna put their name, their Instagram handle and their website on the screen here. It's called D Masa, and that's their main brand, and they have a website. They ship worldwide. They have beautiful Indian fabric. They also have a lot of quilts that are pre-made and you can purchase as gifts. So they very kindly sent me a couple of fabrics as part of the collaboration. And let me just show you this. This is a beautiful indigo print again. I love those birds. They are so, so pretty. These are like block print fabrics. This is the state of, I think the seller they live in, or the company is in Jaipur or in Rajasthan, which is a western state in the country, and they're very popular for this block print designs and dyeing process and everything. And this is the other one. Such a beautiful fabric. So they sent me these two, part of the collaboration, and I've been like thinking a lot about how I want to use this. And I then remembered that a few years ago I had bought from them this beautiful fish fabric. So what I'm gonna do is actually make a quilt holding these three colors together, and I want to I know they're not your typical palette, but I have like an idea in mind, and that's what I'm thinking I'm gonna do. And I'm gonna use an Indian block print fabric as the back as well. And if the way I'm planning it, I think I want to hand quilt the whole thing, and this will make for a beautiful, memorable quilt that I'm really looking forward to making. And I'm gonna record my entire process and everything, but I did want to talk about this particular website, and I'm just gonna put like the information on the screen. There's a link below in the description box, so you can go check them out if you're interested. And especially if you're in the southern hemisphere right now and you're not really in the winter, though I don't really care about the season as much because I love working with these fabrics in the winters as well. You can make a quilt, you can make clothes, and you can like make layering pieces and everything. So but do check out their website, and I hope you enjoy the fabrics as much as I do. So I basically wanted to share with you the fabric they shared with me, and then also show you the quilt that I'm in the process of finishing. Other blankets. So I know everyone's working on Advent knitting. I did not buy any Advent yarn this year. I have a lot of yarn, and I did that thing where a few years ago I bought like the Advent-ish yarn, which is like the gradient yarn and everything. And I fulfilled that desire of having this matching yarn and all. And I actually never finished that project, so I was like, you know what, I do not deserve another Advent calendar, yarn-based, whatever. So instead, what I'm doing is I put my Sweet Shop blanket yarn and project in this basket. So there's like all this yarn in the basket, and my goal is to knit at least 1 square a week. Sorry about the noise, but I wanted to show you how far I've gotten. I had like, it had become one of those out of sight, out of mind projects, but I picked it back up and I am really enjoying it. So this square is the one I did most recently, and then I had done these two, and then I did these two as well as in December. So this has become like my sort of a weekly 1 square project. I think that's a achievable target. Usually on Saturdays I have extra time to knit, and the first thing in the morning if I pick up this project, and having everything in a basket helps, because it's like if I put it away and it's in a bag that I can't see, it becomes an out of sight, out of mind thing. So I pulled everything out, I put it in a basket, and I decided that this is going to be my advent knitting. Instead of buying more yarn and doing like a whole new thing, I want to finish one of these blankets that I've already started, right? So I am thoroughly enjoying it. And I have tried to keep some sort of a theme. Like I picked a lot of yarn in my stash that had some sort of a pink or a peachy tone to it. I divided them into darks and lights, and I'm trying to keep that. I think the only one I wish I didn't do is this one, because I feel like this is a light color as well, and I just put it in the dark side of things. But once I have like 100 squares on this, you're not gonna remember, or even I'm not gonna remember what is what, and then that I messed up or something like that. But I am thoroughly enjoying the Sweet Shop blanket. This is a design by Laura Penrose, and it's a wonderful project because you can like pick up as you go and you knit it. It does have a lot of ends to weave in. Sometimes I weave in the ends as I go, sometimes I don't. I do not fret about it. Once in a while it becomes too annoying and then I sit and weave in a bunch of ends. I have left, a lot of these are woven in, but I've left like fringe like ends because I want to wash it and then trim them down to the blankets itself. So this is the back of the blanket. I love this pink. This is so bright and so pretty. But yeah, oh, I did not mention, this is all fingering weight held double. I think there might be one DK held single. Nope, I think it's all fingering weight held double. And I am super happy with how this is turning out. Like this is going to be so nice to use on the couch once it's done. Or even if it becomes like big enough that while I'm working on it, it's on my lap. I think that will be an amazing project to have. But I wanted to share this because this is like my current advent knitting. All right, so we did the quilting, we did the knitting, and now we'll do crochet for blankets. I own a lot of Holst Garn super soft like cones. A few years ago went into this frenzy of buying a bunch of Holst super soft yarn, but then quickly I realized that it's a little rustic for me, and while I like the idea of knitting with it, I don't know why I never actually gravitate to picking this yarn as the choice for my projects. So I have a bunch of cones and it bugs me that they're just sitting there and nothing's happening with them. So I decided to make a crochet blanket, and this is how I've done so far. So this is I'm calling it currently my pink sunset, but I don't think I'll have finished a blanket size thing by the time I get done with the pink and yellow yarns. So I think I might have to add other colors in it. And can you see a theme? Like everything is pink. Anyway, you know me, fall colors and pink. So it is long. This is a 60-inch cast on. Like this is a ridiculously long thing, and it takes me a while to get through, like even a little bit. Like this is it held double. Like I can't even show it in one frame. But I am so pleased with how this is looking. Now this is a 3-strand thing. I have the super soft, I have mohair, and what I'm doing is I have this mohair, which is my neutral. So the main marl is holding this pink super soft, this yellow super soft, and this together. But I do have bands of the pink and the yellow. And when I do the bands of the pink and yellow, I hold like this color double with a yellow mohair. And then I hold this color double with a pink mohair. It's complicated, but I have a system worked out. So this is a yellow mohair, this is a light pink mohair, and this is a dark pink mohair. And then I'm just like randomly making stripes of it. So I'm thinking that it'll just be like this repeated multiple times over. And I will go as far as my yarn takes me. And then if I run out of it, I have backup plan, because I have a green cone and a navy blue cone that I could have half the blanket be pink and yellow and half the blanket be green and blue. And maybe that'll work. And I'm imagining this to be a blanket that goes over our king size bed. Those 60 inches will not cover the king size bed, but like it could be one of the layers we sleep under, or it could just be in the guest bedroom on the queen size bed as like a pretty thing. But the point is, I want to use my Holst garn. I'm thoroughly enjoying this project as well. I did not work on it over the last couple weeks, but it's easy. It's a single crochet. Like that's all I want. I don't like doing too much fancy crochet. I like a denser single crochet that doesn't have too much like it shouldn't have too many gaps, and that's my ideal crochet project. I'm talking a lot and I need some tea. But I am super thrilled with how this is turning out. It's curling a little, but I mean, nothing a blocking wouldn't resolve. But yeah, that is my blanket knitting or my blanket crochet project for this winter. And I know this is going to last me a couple years at least. I don't think I'll be done with it quick. I have bursts of motivation, so I'll do a bunch and I'll do a lot, and then I'll not touch it for a couple of weeks, and then I'll do a lot. So I have this bag that is full of this yarn. I didn't mention this is B-Shape Boosh Lipiti mohair. This is Valley Yarns Southampton mohair, and this cone is Knitting for Olive silk mohair cone. This was during the pandemic that they were selling cones of this. I don't think they sell cones of this anymore. So like I said, it's 2 strands of whole super soft with 1 strand of mohair, and I'm using a 5mm hook. I do have this hook, but I was not liking holding the metal, like the metal ends on my hand, and then it bugs me, so I got the ergonomic one. I did get a holder for that hook, but I didn't like the holder either, so I just got like an ergonomic one so that it's soft on my hands. But I am super happy with this, and I know once it like becomes a bigger item, it'll be so warm and so cozy. I gotta go through all of this yarn, so there's a while to go. You'll see it a bunch of times before it becomes a finished object. All right, I think I've made a large enough mess over here. Now I'm just gonna sit and talk for a bit. So I was thinking I could talk through some of my winter knitting plans this year. I feel like I'm getting into that phase where I don't want to be go with sweaters, like one sweater after the other. I have a lot of whips that I want to finish, and they have been bugging me. So I'm trying to, you know, just like with that Cambys sweater that I showed you, I want to go back to things that are unfinished and put them into rotation in my wardrobe. I'm also reaching a point where I feel like I have so many sweaters that I wear a new sweater every day for like 3 weeks straight, and then I can repeat all of them. So I want to be a little more mindful about the sweaters that I'm making for myself, and I do want to add to Baljeet's wardrobe. Hence the shift I feel suddenly, and I'm making socks and I'm making sweaters for him, and that I'm not rushing to cast on something for myself. That being said, I of course have the cabled vest by Beth McDonald Stone to cast on. And in the new year, Casey from Young Folk Knits and I will be working on the Siri Sweater by, I'll put the name of the designer, I think it's a Danish designer, and I heard, I think Lena Samsu or something, that's her name, and I'm probably butchering it, but I'm gonna put the Siri Sweater image and designer's name here. So I want to knit that, and Casey and I are doing like a mini knit along because we both love that sweater and we both got the same yarn for it. So watch the space because I'm moving into a cable mode, I think, right now. So that's for me. So the vest and the Siri Sweater will be for me. For Baljeet, I have like this natural sheepy brown yarn, a lot of it in stash, from the Blackberry Ridge Woolen Mill in Wisconsin. And I want to knit a cabled or a Gansey style sweater for him. Currently, I'm leaning cables and I'm thinking of the Moby Sweater by Petite Knit. I also love the Storm Sweater by Petite Knit, which might be nice, but I think Baljeet likes the cables better than a lot of texture, because the Moby Sweater has clean cables running down the length of the sweater, and I really enjoy, it looks really, really pretty to me. So I'm thinking that that might be his next sweater after this raglan. Other than that, I want to knit a shawl. I've been using my Garter Goodness shawl quite a bit, and I think I definitely need another shawl for myself. I really, really like the Mystery Knit Along shawl by Stephen West from 2024. That looked really nice, the Go-Go Dynamo. Beautiful. And I kind of want to do that, but then I'm undecided because I don't want to use too much brain if I'm knitting on cable garments. So the other option is to just knit another Garter Goodness, and that's a brainless project that would be. I think that's about all my current plans are. I have other things that I want to knit. I want to make more vests and everything, but currently I think this is all I'm actively thinking of, and then I want to finish some of my whips. I know in the past I've done a lot of like, oh, all the sweaters you could knit, and like done longer lists and everything, but I feel like this year I'm tending to be a lot slower with my intentions, and it's not something I'm purposely trying to do, it's just something that's organically happening. So yeah, that was everything I had planned today. So that was all I had to talk about and all the things that I wanted to show you. There's definitely a quilting process vlog coming your way sometime in this holiday break, because I have one more quilt to finish and then I'll put together the entire video. I actually finished 2 baby quilts. I gifted one to one of my friends whom I went to see in Minneapolis, and then I gifted one to a friend. I made it as a commission for a friend because she wanted to gift it to her brother and sister-in-law, and I did put a picture of it on Instagram, and I am so proud of that quilt because I worked really hard for it. Like, I did a lot of math and then I figured out the colors, I put it together of course, and then it was going to be a commission quilt, so I didn't have a lot of room for errors and all of that. So I'm so proud of how it turned out. So I have been like making and doing a lot of things. It's just that I'm focusing on all sorts of making. And then I also plan to make a bunch of trousers for winter. I want to sew them. I bought some corduroy fabric and I have patterns cut out, and I'm gonna do that over the break. I have all these plans for the break as if the break is gonna last for months. It's only a 2-week break. So we'll see what all I get done. Maybe I should vlog during the break, but it's not gonna happen. My house is never as neat as some of these videos that I see, like vlog videos, and I'm like, how do you keep your house that neat all the time? My house is like an explosion of craft. There is quilt, knitting, crochet everywhere. It's just like exploded all over the place. So yeah. This year actually I've not even been watching Vlogmas too much. It's just I feel like I'm just in a different mental space, and I have not been watching a lot of Vlogmas. But I think now that I'm off work and I can focus on other things, because my work was being very busy and very demanding, so I just did not have the brain space for a lot of these things. But now that I'm gonna be off for a while, I think I might just go back and watch a bunch of it. I have been thoroughly enjoying audiobooks. I'm obsessed with audiobooks currently. And I know everyone was talking about the Louise Penny Inspector Gamache series. I went crazy. I have finished 5 books in the last couple months. Actually, I've listened to the first 5, and then I'm on hold. I'm waiting for the 6th one to be delivered to me, like on Libby, on the app. And then I read a bunch of other murder mysteries, and now I'm listening to the Dune series. So I started the Dune book 1 by Frank Herbert. I've watched the movies, the couple of movies that came out earlier. I love the movies, but I want to know more details. I could tell that the movies are skipping over a lot of details, and I'm a sucker for details. So I'm thoroughly enjoying listening to the Dune book series. It's only the book 1, but I think I'm gonna do all the original 6 books. I don't want to listen to the, let's see, I don't want to commit to anything, but for the first 6, I'm eager to listen to them. I think that's about it. I haven't been doing anything else. My trip to Minneapolis was a lot of fun. I saw my friend after a really long time. We've been together. We've been friends for like 16 years. Like, he and I went to undergrad together, and so I'm really glad that I'm still friends with him and that I get along with his wife, and had a wonderful time at the baby shower. I went a day early to help them decorate and everything, and it was a wonderful winter wonderland theme. The baby is due in March, so there's still some time, but it was nice to hang out with them. It was like seeing family, so I enjoyed it. Yeah, so that was all the updates I have for you. Thank you so much for checking out my video and sticking with me until the end if you're still here. I really appreciate all your support, all your messages, and all the love that you send my way. I will see you next time with a lot more crafting, a lot more knitting as usual. And thank you for your patience with the duration between these videos. I know you don't care and you come and watch every time I put up a video, and I'm really thankful for that. I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful holiday break. I hope you have a lovely time with your friends and family, and if I don't see you before then, Happy New Year. Yeah, thank you so much. Stay safe and see you next time. Bye.